Hello, good evening. God bless you. Abba Father, please, as I recount these memories, help me to remember them as accurate as possible. And I just ask you to let this reach people that perhaps aspire to be in the music industry or perhaps dream big dreams, that you can help them achieve their dreams, that you're not always, wanting this horrific things to happen to them, that they're portrayed like lightning bolts coming out of the sky, but you actually have a life plan for each of us, Lord. And so far, mine's been quite exciting. I thank you for all the blessing. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray, amen. So, I was sitting here and I was flipping through my videos, my music videos. So, down below is a bunch of music videos, okay? I think they'll say Malika's music videos, and then also Austin has videos down there too. Austin James, Austin Telford. And they were mostly, I believe they're all produced by me. I did the video, the footage, the editing, you know what I mean? The scouting, all location, everything. Lots of fun. So I've been doing this for a while. This is at least 10 years ago. But what is an MC? How what is an MC came about is when I got my record deal with Geffen, I am loyal, and I wanted to make sure and bring LA Posse into my album. I was doing my album. I had a 14 songs ready to go until my management missed my dats, the ones that cost $7,000 each. They lost the bag of dats that were mine. I heard later they were found, and I'm sure they're still in her stuff, unless who knows now where they are. Because she passed away, he passed away. I don't know if they still have her things or not, but she emailed me like in I mean Josefa, she was my manager. Coolio allowed her to run his company because he was like touring a lot of stuff. So she kind of handled all the business ends of Crowbar Management, which was Coolio's company that I was signed to. Okay, to clarify. So anywho, I was making an album. Literally, 14 songs were paid for. Like my album budget, I think was like 75,000 that I paid out. I didn't go spend my album budget on me. I spent my signing bonus on me, and I spent my album budget on my album in the studio Echo Sounds, right? Where Pac did at least two of his albums, and Coolio did Gangster Paradise. I did my album in there, Echo Sounds. So me and Coolio, okay, wait, hold on. So I bring LA Posse in, and I tell him that track, LA, is so fat. I'm talking to Muff. I'm like, is there any way to remix that and just make it bang? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, just to show love to Breeze, show love to LA Posse. It just was like a full circle moment, right? So they gave me the track, and I invited Coolio to be on it because it was banging like that, and he was excited. And not only that, but another one of my influences, who I forgot to mention, was Egyptian Lover, whom I met. I believe he came into the studio, and I met him then when I was signed to Coolio. So that's 97. I believe that's when I met him first. But his music inspired me in the early 80s. Um, my beat goes boom, and um, I don't know, of Dollar Freak, I think, or something. Anyways, Egyptian Lover was the man along with Ice T on the West Coast in the early 80s, like 84, 85, 86, like 83, 84, 85, 86, I think. Okay, that was the early era of rap on the West Coast, and he was banging. And that was when Dre was in that group where they were like, I think the Wrecking Crew or something like that. That's when Dre was in that group. He hadn't formed NWA yet, so or Easy, whatever. Long story short, okay, because that was long-winded. Me and Khalil go into the studio to do the song, and I go because I'm a fan of Egyptian Lover. I want to remake one of his songs. What is an MC if he can't rap? What is a DJ if he can't scrap? What is the beat without a live clap? Well, I could do it all, baby, just like that. That's the hook. On my song, Egyptian Lover came in and he's talking, he's saying it, and he's scratching because he was a DJ too. So he's scratching on the hook and he's talking. LA Posse did the track. That's how loaded this song is, right? LA Posse, okay? And they remade their hit LA Posse. They remixed it and it has some like similar sounds and similar beats. It's obviously a different song, but dope, right? So over the weekend or something, because I keep the Sabbath. I have for like my whole life. There's some times where I've been rebellious, but overall, I'm a Sabbath keeper, and I have been even then with Coolio. So I wouldn't go into the studio Friday night to Saturday dark. Okay, but we were trying to get my album done, so I was in there a lot. I would just book for like months on end in Echo, right? And Bob actually was the engineer and he just passed. I think his name was Bob Morrissey. What a blessing. He was amazing. He's so cool. He worked on Gangster Paradise too, but that's where I met him. But I definitely wanted him on my album and he told me he was working with Tupac. And he told me that me and Tupac had a similar vibe. He said how I flowed and how I recorded is how Tupac flowed and how Tupac recorded. I was honored. While I was in that studio, I have to mention, I actually, at the end of the session, I was at the end still, and everybody had left. I was just cleaning up, and I found these lyrics, and I was like, "Ooh, let me grab these lyrics for the homies." I'm thinking it's Coolio's lyrics. I can't remember what song we were doing, but I take him into the office, and JT opens it up. He's like, "Those are Tupac lyrics. That's how Tupac writes." So literally Tupac lyrics I brought into the office and they kept them and I wish I could have kept them because I would have because Tupac's dope. Period. Always will be like to me one of the ultimate MCs. I just um it's crazy because he could rap about anything, but he was compelling and it was from the heart when it wasn't being forced. That was when his music, in my opinion, was the best. When it wasn't being forced to get out of contracts and stuff, and we'll just leave that there. Anyway, so me and Coolio go, we lay our verses down. What is an MC, right? And the link to the song, I put out a video to the song because I own the song. It's mine. Paid for it. It's mine, right? So I have the video with me and him in it, and then and I don't know if it's just pictures or what. I don't remember, but it's a video. It's an actual video, right? I put out, and the song is awesome. Okay, and so here is what happened to that song. Geffen was like, "That is the song. We about to drop that as a single, right? That'll be your first single. It's dope." Somebody, I know who it is, but I doubt they'll ever admit it. Sold it to the swap meet in Compton to put on a Compton swap meet mixtape. It got bootleg. Geffen's like, I can't make money off it now. And within 4 months, I was dropped from Geffen. True story. Mind you, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Mind you, on top of that, it getting bootlegged, it basically like snowballed into, let's see, how do I put it? Okay, so somebody in the music industry I was having a conversation with, somebody pretty, I would say, extremely well known and respected, right? And I was asking them their views about God and what their level of success, how do they view that? And they said they view it as being blessed, but they don't believe in Jesus. So I wavered. When he asked me, I can't remember how he asked me or how I worded it, but I was very clear in that moment. I felt in my soul I had denied Christ. Either knowing Christ or being open to hearing that possibly he doesn't exist. I can't remember. That's why I'm so adamant now and I'm unapologetic because the bottom line is if you deny Christ here and act like he doesn't exist or he's in control of your life in any way, when it's time for him to go to God, there's a scripture, he says it. He says it in the New Testament. When I go before my Father, I'm going to be Like, get away from me because I never knew you. I don't know what you're talking about, right? So we don't do that to Jesus ever. And for me, I was so in awe of this person, like they were blowing up and everything, that when they asked me about it, how I worded it was not acceptable. And within 24 hours, my single had been bootlegged and Geffen was looking at ways to drop me. And the whole Black division and Geffen. I didn't just get dropped. The whole Black division got dropped, right? And I realized in that moment I had made the biggest mistake ever, because Jesus had put me in that position in that moment to tell that person who he is. And a lot of times, like, I'm sure someone will try to say whatever, but to me, if you're not sleeping with everybody and you're not out here just having sex at the drop of a, like, your whole goal is to meet somebody to have sex with them. If God's bringing you before kings, so to speak, like, to me, Ice-T was a king, right? Dre was a king. Ice Cube was a king. Eazy-E was a king. That's the definition of the power that they held during that time. It was kingship, right? And so anything they wanted, they had. Nice cars, nice houses, endless amounts of cash. You know what I mean? They had leadership. That's what a king is, leadership. I stopped being as shocked when God would just bring me before people, because I began to understand that he had me there. And I was telling my mom this the other night, to tell the story. To tell the story of the golden era of hip hop, because a lot of people didn't make it out. They're not here anymore to tell their own story, or they don't have the platform anymore, or whatever. There was a lot of deception in hip hop in the golden era. There was a lot of lies being told, and there was a lot of people being shelved to keep the focus on just one artist. You know what I mean? There was, like, for example, a record company would sign somebody just to shelve them to make sure they don't come out because they're releasing an artist that's similar. How scandalous is that? You literally took someone's whole life, locked them into a contract they can't release ever, to keep them from coming out. You obviously don't believe in your artist. Because if your artist was dope, you wouldn't have to do that. Mr. I'm in Bali, finding my peace, crisscrossed ankles, or whatever it is, crisscross applesauce. I said what I said, King Jesus. I saw it, right? And then missing money and endless recoupment fees and all this game playing to blow up the artist. As a record label, that's what you should be paying. You should pay that. You shouldn't make the artist pay that. You should pay that, because you're going to make money off that artist. So you're investing in them. That's your investment, not the artist's investment. Now you have convinced us to invest in ourselves, right? And we'll go make albums and tour for 3 years and not see a check. That's Mr. in Bali, living in Bali, crisscross applesauce. That's one of his creations. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. The music industry is a trip. But what was dope about my experience is that the people that were in it, I got to see firsthand all the pitfalls, but I also got to see all the blessings, all the firsts, cool stuff like that. And so, as I remember things, I'll definitely bring them up. Like, there's so much. Can I Get Down One Time, for example? That's on Coolio's My Soul album. I'll put it in the link. Coolio played the track for me and told me to go write it. At this point, I realized, like, I need to start. I kind of have, like, rosy colored glasses. Is that what they're called? Where you just think everything's peachy keen and nobody's doing anything wrong. Well, by the time My Soul rolled around, we had some issues in the camp. Amen. there was firings and hirings and people coming in that were not there at the beginning that saw the success and attached themselves to it. Listen. Demp, Demp is dope. Demp was who Coolio had kids with, and um, she's good energy, right? When I met him, like when I joined into Crowbar and stuff, that's who he was with, or whatever. They were slowly drifting. I don't know their business like that. I'm just saying Demp was always it was Coolio and Demp. Coolio and Demp. I would always hear that, right? And her kids are dope. Um Brandy, Artesia, artists. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry guys. There's a lot. I think there's seven. Milan. Um why am I forgetting what is her name? Oh my gosh. Brandy has a sister. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm so sorry. I'm not remembering your name. And as soon as I get off, I have it in my phone. You know what I mean? Artist was like kind of, he was defiant. He was dope. It was very much his father's son in a good way, right? Like he had all artists' good qualities, leadership, sense of humor, um, the public eye gifted to rap. You know what I'm saying? He performed with his dad for years. So he's gifted. Artist is dope. Love him. And he's still here. God bless his soul. Um, I feel like as we got into the next album, there was starting to be a distance. Like the people running the company were starting to divide the 40Ds, which was really weird, and Tight, which was our singing group. They were I think Coolio was trying to bring in Milk and stuff, and like there was just like a lot of weird energy and upheaval. And so I just got into the studio with Big C, which is Mike Conception's brother. And if you look down below, I have an album called The Early Years. I think it's called The Early Years, West Side Stories. I don't even know my own. I'm tired. I just did a whole shift at work. I'm burnt out. But sorry. If you look down there, you'll see it though. I know it's West Side Stories. I think it says The Early Years. But those are the songs that I did with Vic Conception. Those are the songs that I did when I was signed to Coolio. And um, some of them are after, and some of them are also with Mob Style. After, way after, like 2012, 13, 11, I think 10, 2010, 11, 12, right in there is some music. And then I think I even had some after. I still have more I haven't put out. I've done like a ton of songs, and I will one day. But um, I know that when we went in and did Can I Get Down One Time, he wouldn't pay me, and I was pissed. And he said he wouldn't pay me because I pay him when he was on What Is the MC, and I was like, I couldn't say anything because I did just take it for granted that he would be on the song. I should have cut him a check, right? Just out of respect. He's an artist on my album. He's the one person I didn't cut a check, so I get it. I'm mad at him, so he didn't have to pay me, and now we even Steven, right? But what's crazy is Tommy Boy tried to take all my checks. Tommy Boy tried to take my check from Cruising, take my check from Get Up, Get Down, take my check from Can I Get Down One Time. Tommy Boy keeps re-releasing Coolio's music, thinking that I won't track it, but I go into the things all the time and get all the numbers and go in and claim my stuff because, first of all, Tommy Boy I don't know what Coolio did. I've heard things, but I don't know what he did. I know at 92.3, it got out of hand. I can't remember why, but I know that there was pew-pews involved and stuff. 92.3 is in LA, right? And at the time, it was the biggest radio station. And so whatever he did, they was very upset. Okay? They was very upset. And we had trouble getting our music on the radio at that point. I also know, I think the 40 Thieves were signed to Atlantic, and I really can't speak too much on it other than Tight, the singing group Tight was also on the same label. If it's not Atlantic, I'm sorry, because I could be so wrong. I didn't have the 43's record deal, they did, and they put our music out, songs I did with them, and whatever on that label, Mercury. That's what it was, Mercury. So them and Ty had a record deal with Mercury, and I don't know what Coolio did, but something happened, and then they got dropped. And then with me, I told you, bringing in the past, it was someone from the past. That's the only people that had the song. No one else had the song. It's just the producers and me. I didn't give the song out. I didn't even give it to Coolio. I was very protective of my music. So, you know, someone from the producer team had the track and gave it to the swap meet. And I remember in there, I'm standing in there getting an outfit because that's where I shopped, the Crenshaw swap meet. And I think, wait, Slauson, it's Slauson swap meet, but yeah. Um, I was in there getting my stuff, and all of a sudden I heard my song. I was like, what? So I went over to look where you can get the mixtape that's playing on the swap meet, and there's my song with Coolio, What is an MC? So anyway, I still put it out because I own it. I paid for it, it's mine. So there you go. And then and that's on the album down below, and it'll be in the link to the video. Okay. So that's the story of that. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, get some rest, right? And if you're a mom, happy Mother's Day. Amen.